All right, so we're starting. This is kind of a new little podcast deal. Thanks for coming down. We're with Jacob Newsom, who just recently signed with Eastern Washington University to play football for them. Now, you're from Colville, and you played for the Colville football team, which won the State 1A title this year. You guys beat Royal, which had something like 52-game winning streak or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was something crazy, and that was a great game. I think you guys won something like 31-28, and if I remember right, you guys had to stop them on defense in order to win the game. Did I get that right? Where it basically came down to you guys making a stand on defense there against Royal. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we stopped them, and then we had to get 2 first downs, and then that was the game.
That was the game there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And yeah, it was fun kind of following you guys this year because you really had a dominant season. It's kind of funny, many people probably don't remember, but you guys started the year 0-2, and then rattled off something like 11 wins or something like that, and they were all just impressive wins. I remember going down to the game you guys played against Deer Park, and it was kind of funny watching you guys play because it was like watching kind of a machine work because some football games you go and there's like ebbs and flows, and it just seemed like you guys just moved down the field. Really, Deer Park couldn't do much to stop you guys, and then on the other side of the ball, it just seemed like Deer Park really couldn't get the ball moving against you guys. And looking at Deer Park, you would assume with the size they had and kind of the physicality that it would be an evenly matched game, but the first few drives, I was like, oh, this is going to be a close game. And then by halftime, I was like, this is not going to be a close game. So, but yeah, thanks for coming down. We're doing this on the Friday of the snowpocalypse here in Eastern Washington. I know now you're a wrestler, and they just canceled state regionals. So basically, every wrestler in the state is going to Matt Classic there next weekend. So you'll be wrestling in the Tacoma Dome. But the big thing is the football. Signing with Eastern Washington, which is a Division I football school, and they are just fresh off the national title game against North Dakota State University there. So kind of everybody has kind of a different recruiting experience and things like that. It's a lot different now than it was like years ago, where they have the huddle. I don't know if you use huddle a lot kind of deal, and you're kind of able to upload your highlights and things like that, and then coaches are probably able to kind of watch those and go on and kind of see what you're doing and how you're performing there. So in terms of the process for you, what did you kind of do during the recruitment period? And just what was that experience like? Because some people don't realize if you want to move on to the next level, it just doesn't happen kind of spontaneously. You have to do a lot of work to kind of get the attention of coaches. Even if you have good stats during the high school year, you almost have to be your own best salesman kind of doing that. So what was that process like, and just how much time did you kind of put into it there?
It started right after junior year for me. Started going to the camps. I went to the Texas State University camp. I went to the Northern Arizona camp, and I went to Idaho Vandals 3-day camp, and that was with pads and whatnot. And I think that's where I really got my name out, Northwest wise. There's a couple other schools like Rocky Mountain. They've really offered me there, and that was kind of like a jump start, I can start somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
You knew that, okay, I can play at the next level. Coaches are interested in me kind of deal there.
So and then throughout the season, my coaches and teammates have been helping me a lot, especially my D-line coach, Roy.
Right.
He put together my highlight tape, sent it out to a bunch of colleges, helped me out with that, and just helped me to know what to say, kind of what to impress them and whatnot. And definitely had a lot of other people, family helped me out, paying for me to visit. We had to visit the Montana Western a month or so ago with Tug and Danny from Newport.
Right.
So I actually drove with them, and so that was pretty cool. So
now, is there a lot of Colville coaches that went to Montana Western? Because I see them wearing Montana Western gear every now and then there, so I was just kind of curious if some of them went there.
Our head coach, Randy Cornwell, went there.
He did go there. Okay, very cool, very cool. So, Yeah, awesome there. So you kind of went all around kind of the inland northwest with camps and stuff, and that is really how you get your name out. And in order to get recruited, you do have to spend times at these camps and stuff. Now Colville does the Eastern camp as well, right? They do that kind of every. Is it a summer camp? Is it kind of deal or?
Yeah, for the players. So it's just a team camp. They work on some skills. It's a day-long thing. It takes all day. So first part of the day they do one position, and second part of the day they do their secondary position. Just because like we're just a small school that you have to play both ways.
Right.
But we scrimmage probably 3 or 4 times in a day, and it's a really good camp. I wasn't able to participate in it this year because I had just moved back from Mississippi. So.
And that's another thing I read, and that's kind of an interesting thing, is your parents actually moved to Mississippi, and you decided to kind of stay here for your senior year of school, which is always a tough choice because moving school your senior year, you kind of have to readjust to, friends, things like that, and then if especially sports, if the coaches or the program just isn't used to you, they may not know where to put you or kind of, what defense to put you in or what offense to put you in kind of deal. So, staying here, I assume you kind of either found like a family to stay with or something like that. How did you manage staying kind of across the country there, I guess?
Well, actually, I moved down there with them January 1st of 2018. I moved to Mississippi, spent my second semester junior year there, and I came up here June. My grandparents actually live in Colville.
Okay.
So
okay. Gotcha.
I moved in with them, and that's just how I've been staying here.
Very cool. And so you're going to finish out your whole senior year, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Very cool there. Well, just in terms of Eastern there, did you get to kind of tour some of the campus? Obviously, you went to the camps, but did they kind of give you a recruitment tour or anything like that? Just here's what our program's about, and this is kind of what we do. How did deciding on Eastern go for you there?
It went really well. I mean, I had an official visit with them this last weekend.
Okay.
So Saturday and Sunday right after districts. So I got there probably around 5, and we ate, and then I hung out with some of the players, and spent the night at a hotel. And then the next morning I met Coach Best and Coach Strand, talked football and whatnot. And yeah, it went really well. It felt like home. Everyone was like genuine.
Right.
And really straightforward. So.
Now, what did you think of Cheney there? I just have to ask what you think, because I lived there for 5 years, and it really is kind of in the middle of a wheat field there. So, how'd you like Cheney?
I enjoy it. I mean, I've lived in small towns all my life. I'm not a big fan of the big cities, but it's like right in between. Like you can go to the campus and whatnot and be around a bunch of people, and then you can go for a drive and like be by yourself, just like driving through wheat fields and nature and all that.
Right. I gotta say, going to college there, I'd go weeks without driving my car just because like everything was just so close you could walk everywhere. Even during the winter, that was kind of half the fun during the winter, was seeing if you could make it across town without freezing there. So what attracted you to the Eastern program in terms of now they've been in, I think, the national semifinal something like 6-7 times in the last 6-7 years, and then obviously they have the red field, which everybody seems to love. It always gets headlines and things, and just in general they seem to have some standout players that if they don't go to the NFL, they end up playing in the CFL and just finding extra life after college football there. So what kind of stood out to you, and certainly I kind of want to ask what stood out to you about head coach Aaron Best, because he's kind of a new coach, because Bo Baldwin had been there for years and really built that program up, and he has taken over and he's making a name for himself, obviously leading to the Eagles to the national title game. So what just stood out to you about, hey, I want to play football here?
I mean, it really seemed like a brotherhood. I mean, I was there for the semifinal game. I paid for my ticket and just met Coach Strand and whatnot, and then they gave me an unofficial visit against the game against Idaho.
Okay.
So I got to go into the locker room and see all that, and it really felt like it felt like a brotherhood. They all were hugging each other, and no matter what position, it wasn't just DBs with DBs. It was corners with DNs. It was running backs with DTs. Just they're all having fun. It really seemed like they were close, like really close. And Coach Best, he really seems like he cares. I mean, he's
an intense guy, isn't he?
Yeah, really. I remember seeing him in the locker room, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because, like, I don't know, like, people that are quiet and whatnot, like especially coaches, I don't know, but, like, intense, like, Randy Cornwell, like, he can be intense at times, and it just kind of shows that, like, they truly do care, and, like, they're in it as much as you are, and they want to see you succeed.
All right, very awesome there. And just with the way Eastern's kind of shaping up, it looks like they have a great recruiting class. You're part of it. One of the things I noticed is Silas down there at Northwest Christian. He's kind of made a name for himself as running back. He's going to be on the team as well. So we kind of have two basically Northeastern Washington players go down and play for Eastern. And we had kind of talked a little bit about you signing with them, and it really is a big deal for somebody for Stevens County to go down to play at that level, Division I football there, because it has happened obviously in the past, but it is still fairly rare to see some Colville kids on the team or some Chewelah kids on the team. I can only in my head think of a handful of Chewelah kids that played for Eastern. Just in, recently, last 10 years or something. There's Jess Trampish, there's Keith Garner, and then one of the Belzers, and he was actually a really good linebacker for him there. But, they had some success there, and that was good to see. So anytime we can see somebody locally like you go down and play for the Eagles, that just gives us, even more reason to root and kind of follow the team, because you're like, oh, okay, I remember watching him when he played in high school and stuff. So, and speaking about the high school season, boy, you guys got a great program up there in Colville. It just impresses me going up there for like summer camp and seeing like 40 kids out for summer camp, because that might be normal for you guys, but a lot of teams don't have that kind of participation for an optional, for an off-season, I guess, event there. So it seems like, you guys have built a great program there. We were talking to some people on the sideline during the Deer Park game, and you guys have, like a year-round weight training, and you really get after it. And it certainly shows on the field. Just how many athletes you have on there, and just how tough physically you guys can be there. So, what is it like being in that program? And you guys have been, I think you've won the last 7 league titles or something like that. So, what is it like growing up in that program and then being able to have a senior year like this, where you win a state title?
It's amazing. It's the reason I came back. It's a true family brotherhood mentality. It's great tradition. Especially the coaches like Randy Cornwell. He truly cares. I'm really close with him and Coach Carp, who's the defensive coordinator, and our D-line coach, Coach Roy. I'm super close with all of them. I talk to them every day. We text, and it's kind of cool. Like, even when the coaches aren't around, the kids keep each other accountable. It's like when you missed a lift, like the next day you'll see the kid at school and you're like, where were you?
Right.
And it's
right.
it's just kind of like we're in this as a team. We're not going to win without everyone being there. So it's really cool to see like how much like kids can come together and care about one another for like a singular purpose.
All right, very cool. And then kind of looking at your stats, at least this year, you had 143 tackles. Is this career tackles, or is that just one season there?
I think that's career.
That's career tackles. You have 15 sacks and 36 total. You even have an interception. You play D-line, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you jumped on the ball on the line or something like that, or?
Yeah. Playing Royal actually.
Okay. Cool.
The O-lineman kind of let me go, and I saw the running back come out, and on film you can see me kind of grab him, and then like he threw the ball, and I just put my hands up, and I ended up catching it. So
nice.
I didn't get very far though. The running back ended up tackling me.
So, and it looks like you were named the co-MVP of the Northeast 1A League. which is, hey, that's pretty good. All league honors, and let's see here. Your first team, both offensive and defensive linemen there. So what do you like playing better, O-line or D-line, or do you have a preference there? So
I'm definitely a D lineman. I like O-line just because, like, you can manhandle sometimes, like, impose your will, but you can also do that on, like, D-line, and just something about D-line is just, I just love it.
Right.
It's everything about it.
Okay, very cool there. And yeah, talk a little bit about this season, because you guys finished 6-0 in the NEA League. What the closest game you guys had? I think one team scored a touchdown on you. That's the highest anybody got all year in league there. What was the toughest game for you guys there? Because I know Newport was a good team, but I feel like they didn't get very far against you. So what was the toughest game for you during the year there?
Well, league-wise, it was definitely Newport. But going into it, we were really looking forward to it, just because they beat us in the playoffs last year in the quarterfinals.
Right.
And so we definitely wanted, I guess, some payback. And and so I know all the kids, including myself, were just really looking forward to that game and really were pumped up just to get another shot at them.
Right. Right.
And at first, it was pretty close. At first, I think it was like 7-7 going in the half or something. I don't know. I forgot. But I think second half, we pulled away.
Right.
So.
Right. And that was a kind of crazy Newport this year, because it seemed like they had lost a lot from last year's team. But here they are in the state title game. How weird was that? So you have two teams from the same league in the same title game. What's that just say about this league, which you guys have won 7 years in a row, to have this many teams in the finals, basically? And they were in the finals last year too, correct? Or they were at least in the semis there.
Semi.
So to have this consistent success, what's that kind of say about the league?
It's a tough league. I mean, everyone's good,
Right.
including like Medical Lake, especially this year. They made leaps and bounds. I remember playing them this year, and it was like this isn't the same team as I played like my sophomore or junior year.
Right, they
And,
changed, got better there. So.
And Freeman's always a good one. I think they're down some kids this year.
Right.
But they're usually really, really tough. And Newport, they got some really good kids in like Tug and Danny. They're great leaders, great kids. Riverside too. Riverside.
Yeah, they really improved this year. That was they had kind of been kind of in the cellar for a few years, but watching them this year, I was like, okay, they've built some, good little team there. So that was good to see. It's always good to see a team that maybe has been on the lower end of things finally find some success and build up there. And kind of speaking about that, the WIAA came out with some classification changes. It doesn't affect you guys. You guys will remain in 1A, but it seems like Deer Park might move up to 2A. And there's even been some rumors about Riverside, if they wanted to, I'm not sure if they will, could maybe drop down to 2B if they would want to there. So is that anything you guys like to follow or look at there, just see how those classification changes, or do you just kind of wait for the season to start and just see who's in the league there?
I'm sure my coaches look at it, but I haven't heard anything about that. I know there was some rumor about Deer Park getting put up one.
Right.
And Chewelah, I was surprised when Chewelah got moved down.
Yeah, the thing about Chewelah was that the number of students attending had really dropped, and that's kind of why they had to do the emergency shift, because I think by the time they actually made the drop last year or announced it, they were down to about 180 kids in the school. And this year they're sitting at, I want to say, about 170 or something like that, which is smack dab in the middle of a 2B there. So, and I know with the last classification cycle, they were something at 205 or, something just on the cusp of 1A, 2B. So, and that can be tough for a program, especially in football, when you have that few kids in the school. It just, basketball, sometimes baseball, things, it's a little easier to compete just because you don't need as many kids on the field. But once you get into football where you need basically, either 11 or 22 kids, like you said, you usually play both ways, but you can't have, 11 kids play both ways all game there. So football's definitely kind of dependent on depth there. So, and now, so you guys moved in from football right into wrestling, and I believe you guys are ranked in the top 3 as a team in the state for the 1As. There's something I just looked at. I can't remember either 2 or 3. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. You got a bunch of like defending state champions on the team. Who's the kid that won 4 straight? He's going for his 4th there. Is that
Trent Bond?
Trent Bond there,
he's a man.
And that's one of those things. Winning 4 state titles, I have to imagine, is just extremely difficult because when you get to that MAC Classic and get down to the best of the best, you're not going up against somebody you can easily beat. These are really good athletes, and to do it 4 years in a row, when you're starting out as a freshman, who you grow from a freshman to a senior there, and then through those 4 years you're probably facing different kids who move up or down weight classes and stuff. So you could have a state champion from another classification either drop down or come up, and then so you may have been the top dog in your classification one year, the next year it might be different. So that's always kind of interesting to me, is to see a kid win it 4 years in a row or 3 years in a row or something like that. That's just, to me, that's one of the most difficult things I think you can do as an athlete there. So but yeah, what is the so you hadn't wrestled since 8th grade, and then you start to wrestle this year, and now you're ranked 6th in the state or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So what got you into wrestling your final year? What made you want to do it there?
I was a big wrestler growing up. Started in like 1st or 2nd grade, and wrestled all the way up to 8th grade. And I love basketball a lot, so I played basketball in high school, freshman and sophomore year. I wasn't able to my junior year because we moved during the season.
Okay, moving around kind of deal. Gotcha.
And this year, like, we just got a new head coach again, and I didn't want to play with another new head coach. Like, that would have been my 3rd in 4 years.
Yeah, hard to adjust, to another system, and you got to deal with all that, because you may not be a focus or something like that, or he may have different plans or something like that. I get how changing coaches can always be tough, because you're not quite sure what they want for the program or what direction they want to do. Usually it takes a few years to establish that there. So you get into wrestling there. How long did it take you to get readjusted, I guess? Or
it took me a while. It took me about 2 weeks till I finally started to get the flow of it again. First tournament, got into the second chance thing, and lost my first match, so I got pinned. But that was crazy. I'm not a big fan of wrestling, but I enjoy working hard.
And that's what wrestling is. It's just working hard. Yeah. That's all it is. I was thinking it's like, even if you're not good at wrestling, you're working your butt off. Yeah, it's crazy how even somebody who goes a whole season and may not win very much, they're still in the wrestling room every day. And wrestling, a lot of times to me, does not look fun. So, but yeah, how have you enjoyed this season, and how has this season kind of been going for you?
It's going great. I love all the kids. It's part of the reason I wrestle is all my friends to do it. And like people like John, Trevor, Trent, they're all defending state champions. Ryder Groff, he's gonna have a shot. He's doing really well this season. And it's just all my friends. They got 2nd the past 4 years in state as a team. So.
And just behind your park, if I remember right.
Yeah,
at least last year, right? They were Colville's number 2, Deer Park was number 1 or something like that.
Them and Granger, yeah, I think, yep. And so I think that had a role to play. But enjoying it wise, just all my friends all the time. We're always cracking jokes. But when it gets time to work, we work, and I love being able to work with people I love.
Right.
Because you get to push each other, and then at the end of it, you guys you just know you're making each other better.
All right. Well, awesome there. Now, so you do track and field as well?
Usually I did freshman and sophomore year, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it this year.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I think I might just focus on like next football season.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm sure. Do they give you like a, hey, this is the workout routine we want you to do, or something like that? Do they give you any guidance of what you need to do between now and when school starts there? Or I guess they probably start practice in the summer there. So.
Yeah. They start August 2nd. I still have to talk to them about that. I'm not sure if they're allowed to or whatnot with NCAA rules.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I know NEIA they can give because Skylar Lindquist, one of our tight ends a couple years ago, when he signed with Western, he was doing workouts from them before. But I'll have to talk to Coach Strand and see, and if not, I'll just ask my coach Carp, D coordinator. He used to play at Eastern.
Cool.
So
cool.
he'll come up with workouts for me.
Okay. When did he play for Eastern there, or does he dare admit that?
It was a while ago.
It was back when they had a green field there. So.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure.
It's kind of funny when I went there. The field there, they didn't even have that press box, so they have a big, gigantic press box with like luxury suites now and stuff. My freshman year, it looked like let's see here, how can I describe it? It kind of looked like old hamburger stand sitting on top of the grandstands there, and they finally replaced it and put up that gigantic Battlestar Galactica press box. But when we were there, it was always kind of a green field, and they were a good team, but they didn't quite reach that elite level that they have been in the past 10 years or so. And once they put in that red field, it seemed like it kind of changed the buzz around the program and the excitement around it. So it's great to see that you're going to head down there and we can kind of see a local player kind of be part of that, I guess, there. So, but I do have to warn you. Now, I know they redesigned the pub, but really watch it when you go to the pub there, because if you get some food that's been sitting out under those heating lamps too much, they're not going to taste very good. So you always go and you order, and then they'll give it to you fresh there. So,
all right.
So just to avoid like the freshman, what would you call it, a freshman gut ache or something like that.
Really?
Just watch
Okay.
that. So, do players have to stay on campus, or do you guys get to kind of choose your housing, or however you do that kind of deal? Or
I'm not sure. I don't know about with Eastern, but I know other programs that all the football players, like at least freshman wise, they house like dorms with each other.
Right.
And whatnot. But I haven't gotten too much into that.
What just happened? Right? When did you actually make the decision? How long ago was that? About a week ago, basically?
Monday.
Okay, quick there.
Yeah. I had to choose my real two picks were Saginaw Valley State University in Michigan.
Okay.
And then Eastern. And so after my visit with Eastern, I talked it over with my parents and told them how I felt, and that's when I made my decision.
Well, very cool. Well, great to see that you're going down there. My tip to you, if they say you have a choice of dorms, don't go into Morrison, because it's all brick buildings, brick walls, and then Cheney gets really cold during the winter, and that is not warm. So
is that where you stayed?
So, well, I stayed in Dressler, but I'd be over in Morrison, and I'm like, it's like 50 degrees in here. You guys need to turn the heat up here. In Morrison, I don't know. It was always like 85 degrees in there for some reason. I have no idea why. But, yeah, I think we're good. Thanks for coming down. Again, it's kind of blizzarding out, and everybody's freaking out, and you made the drive down from Colville there. So we'll keep an eye on you when you're down in Cheney. And, yeah, best of luck to you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.